So today we're going to be taking a look at the Zoo Warlock versus Midrange Shaman build, and I'm going to put the deck list in the video description. I'm playing the very standard Rained made this deck Zoo build with no Mortal Coils, kind of the only choice card that's of any kind of variation these days.
Yeah. It's kind of a newer adaptation too, I believe.
Yeah. I think this this deck is actually named Rainad Modern Zoo or something like that.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Okay, so this is card for card. I mean, this is C-Zoo. This is what you should expect it to be. I'll put the link up in the video description. Um,
And
your deck,
my shaman is pretty much mid-range shaman. It has every single thing you would expect. Like there's like a few flex spots, and for those flex spots, I have two Violet Teachers where some people might have two Yetis, and I have two Knife Jugglers where people might have Harvest Golem just because it gives you a 2-drop, but it's pretty much very standard. Alakir and Doomhammer.
nice. All right, so let's jump into this. Are you playing the right deck?
Yep, it's my only shaman at the moment. Can't mess this one up.
So we've added in a new scene for the mulligans. Uh, let's see how it works out. Oh yeah,
How's it
you've got
look?
the extra card and it fits nicely. Okay, so frame's all good.
Beautiful.
Alright, so for me in the Zoo mulligan against Shaman, I don't really treat this much different than any other deck. You pretty much want 1 and 2 drops. You're never going to keep your Soulfires. Not going to keep Harvest Golem unless you have like the perfect curve. And even, this is a little bit of a gamble here whether or not you keep an Amani Berserker on this hand. Nothing else is really great, so it's kind of a risk to toss it, because if I don't get a 1-drop and I don't get another 2-drop, this is a great one. I kind of keep it. Sometimes you would get rid of that and just go for 1-drops. It's not a great hand, but we'll see how it goes. What's going on your side?
I'm just looking for Earth Shocks, Rockbiter Weapon, and maybe a Lightning Storm. Don't really want to keep anything greater than a 3-drop. Sometimes you will keep your Unbound, but I kind of don't even like doing that unless you have a guaranteed way to activate it or something with Feral Spirits. But I don't like Feral Spirits as much as most people do in this matchup.
Alright, so reminiscent of your game earlier, I'm going to go ahead and play this just to get something on the board. It's not great to not get a Battle Cry, but for the most part, this is going to eat up some sort of removal. If you Earth Shocks it,
Yeah,
it's
it
okay.
is. It is actually. I'm gonna definitely play the Argent Squire. It's like the #1 thing you want to do on turn 1. And since I have the coin, I have the luxury of a choice here. This isn't the best Earthshock target, but a lot of Zoo have been taking out the Silver Moon Guardian. Is that even no? The Scarlet Crusader.
Yeah, that's the 3/1
So
removal.
that's like the premier Earthshock target, and I think I'm going to take a gamble and just use the Earthshock because really board presence is king, and I also have this card to back me up later on.
And aside from the 3/1, part of the reason that that play still makes a lot of sense is that if I've played a weak card turn 1, it probably means my hand isn't that great. So, Earth Shocking a weak card, still pretty reasonable play. There's nothing really else to consider here. This is one of the best 2-drops you can get in this deck, especially with that Squire on the board. He's going to need either Lightning Bolt or a Rockbiter to remove it. He's got another removal. Not a whole lot I can do.
Yeah, and I do. I don't like. I wish this was a Rockbiter. I will always, if I'm trying to give people advice against Zoo, you don't want to overload yourself. But I don't have a 3-drop currently that I would want to play, and having a totem is not that valuable. So you have to use the Lightning Bolt, especially because it's a 2/3 that can turn into a 5/2 after one swing. So I'm going to do that. Don't get to use my mana efficiently, but board presence is much more valuable. in this matchup.
Alright, so this is not a tremendous play, but it's the only card in my hand that is playable this turn, and at the very least it doesn't die to what's on the board. So if he's got a Flame Tongue or any card to combo without actually losing much, gonna be pretty weak. But not playing anything doesn't make sense, and tapping isn't that valuable given that my hand is pretty expensive. So hopefully he has to use another card out of hand if he is able to deal with this.
Okay, kind of as I assumed, I figured my only play would be a totem this turn. It would have been really nice to draw the Flame Tongue. I would have absolutely played it there. I would have played the Knife Joker too, even though it's an easy kill. It's just a way to remove that minion almost guaranteed because he doesn't want me to have a Knife Joker alive. So I always totem first before I decide what I'm going to do. Taunt Totem is nice here. The 1/1 would have been nice too, but see, to play around a possible Blood Knight, I think I'm going to trade here. It would open me up to Mortal Coil or a possible Elven Archer, but I think I'd never want to give someone a Blood Knight, especially if I don't have a Hex in my hand.
Okay, so there's two options here. I can either Dark Iron or Defender of Argus. Dark Iron doesn't get any value out of its battle cry. It gets the bigger creature on the board, but it lets him trade his Squire in for my Direwolf next turn, which is less than ideal. That'll be a pretty good trade for him. Even though it is over 2 turns, he'll end up trading 1-drop for the 2-drop. So I don't want that to happen. In the end, I think the correct play here is to just get the single battle cry value off of the defender and protect this creature and help it stay on the board. Now I have the Dark Iron for next turn. If he plays anything, not incredibly valuable at the moment, but in the next turn or two he could be playing Fire Ellie or something. So.
Okay, so I have a choice here. It's obviously 3 options. I don't want to. It's a very lackluster Lightning Storm board. It is a decent board to Feral Spirit. Although he can clear my board, it would be. But it does overload. Like I said, I don't like the Feral Spirit that much. I'm actually going to go with the Violet Teacher. He would, as it stands right now, he would definitely lose 1 minion from his hand since it has 5 health, and he can't just Soulfire it or buff up a creature and kill it. So I'm going to play that. I'm going to hold off, and I'm not going to attack with the 1/1 because there's no benefit at all to it.
Okay, so in this case, I want to kill that Violet Teacher immediately. Zoo's all about board control anyways, and Violet Teacher is higher than normal priority as far as getting creatures off the board. Now the question basically becomes, do I want to kill it with the Wolf, or do I want to spend the Defender? The Wolf is a little bit more value. I mean, partly it has Taunt, which is nice. It's keeping his 1/1 at bay, but I don't really value that 1 life a turn excessively highly. On the other hand, keeping the Defender up is going to play around Lightning Storm a little better, so he has to roll high if he wants to get rid of it. Now, I'll more than likely just use the Defender to take out the Argent Squire anyways. So with that in mind, I think keeping the what will be a 3/1 Direwolf is probably more valuable. So I'm going to go ahead and power this guy up, trade this in, kill this Squire, especially given that he's already Earthshocked once. Chance of him having another one is not exceptionally high. And this gets my Shield Bearer a little bit more value as well.
Okay, let's see here. This board is not very appealing. For Feral Spirits again, it'll leave me with only Uh, turns only 4 mana next turn, which is actually pretty decent with my current hand. However, I don't feel that threatened yet, and I don't want to overload myself until I have to, which I've been saying it as a broken record, but really, I think the absolute key is to not overload yourself unless you have to, because it is your strongest way to win the game, but it could also cripple you. I'm just going to put as much value as I can. You can't get any unbelievable. Actually, you can trade really well with the Dark Iron, but it's okay for later turns.
Okay, so once again, I do really want to kill the Violet Teacher off. At this point, trading in for the bubble on that 1/1 is not a huge deal because he is almost 100% going to trade that creature in for the Direwolf next turn. And given that he's going to do that, even if I remove the bubble, he's still going to make the trade. And I doubt he does anything with the 1/1 the turn after. There's not a whole lot of value in that. I think a nice play, though, that also gets some damage, rather than trading my Dark Iron in and exposing myself to a pretty reasonable Lightning Storm, I'm actually going to play out my hand and then go for a Soulfire. So this keeps the taunt alive and lets me go to the face for quite a bit. And a Lightning Storm here is probably going to be necessary, but at the same time it's still not incredible because it won't easily kill those two Dark Irons.
Okay, I got a pretty good draw here. I could. I don't really think Lightning Storm is worth it yet. I mean, the problems are the Dark Irons and the fact that it's not a guaranteed kill on the Voidwalker. Uh, let's see. I think my plan is going to be to just Feral Spirit, and I'm going to use the Rockbiter weapon to clear the Voidwalker, because especially since my Feral Spirits can't take down the Voidwalker on their own, I'm not really worried about the Shield Bearer since it'll be a 0/1, because I'm most definitely going to do this. Okay, so now currently he's going to the only way he can get through with an empty board is to damage his Dark Irons into Lightning Storm range, so I feel like I'm in a pretty decent position.
Alright, so I'm in a terrible position right now. Those wolves are going to eat up my attacks and damage all my creatures. So there's not really a whole lot I can do about that. I can play my Young Priestess and hope it rolls onto something relevant and that he rolls low on that guy. But given that he's got a chance at a spell power totem and I won't be able to clear this totem, it's not not great odds. I'm gonna go ahead and tap and see what I get. Once again, not very helpful. So there's consideration here whether I play these cards at all, given that I'm expecting a Lightning Storm next turn. Regardless, it probably doesn't make sense to play small creatures that are going to die to it. So I'm just going to kill the wolves, eat the Lightning Storm, and repopulate the board afterwards. At this point, I mean, he's gone through the top third of his deck. He's 11 cards in. You have to put him on at least one Lightning Storm.
Okay, so yeah, especially because it's a good card to keep in the mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't want to use this yet. I'm definitely going to Lightning Storm. It doesn't really matter what totem I get, but I'm going to totem anyway. So at least I have full board presence, and next turn I'm going to have 6 mana, which is huge for a Shaman. You always want to have 6 mana when you can. Top decking that Fire Elemental against Zoo is pretty much a good game.
Alright, so in the late game, if you can create a life advantage in the late game, one of the nice things about this matchup is that you can always stay ahead in cards. Shaman likes to hit their totem quite a lot in the early game and build card advantage that way. by trading their totems for tempo, and then basically having a big selection of tools to deal with whatever's on the board. The nice thing about Zoo here and what I've managed to do so far is keep his cards down um, so that he's running out. So I'm going to keep tapping here, and that was an amazing top deck actually. I've got a Knife Juggler and a lot of small creatures. So hopefully I can do a little bit of damage to his board.
No!
Clear out the 1/1s maybe. Look at that.
Oh, sniped.
So position-wise here, the reason I played these how I did, um, I mean the only really important one is that the Argent Squire is next to the Direwolf, because this is the card that I'm most likely to trade the bubble in for something. Um, as far as defenders go, I'd probably place in the middle or in the right. Um, you basically don't want your Knife Juggler next to the other priority targets because it's rare that you ever will hit this with a Defender of Argus.
Okay. This is kind of tough. Mm. Well, I only have 4 mana of options, so I'm going to totem first. I'm just going to see. Okay, the taunt totem is nice because I'm in kind of a rough spot. I think I'm going to want to use my Rockbiter weapon to clear the Knife Juggler. There's an argument that could be said for the Direwolf. However, there's only one minion on the side of the Knife Juggler, so I think the Knife Juggler is more important, considering he'll probably be dropping 2 minions next turn anyway, and that's 2 knives versus the 1 damage that it's saving. And you could argue that the Hex is a reasonable play just to mitigate some damage, but you always want to save it for Doomguard unless it's really desperate.
Well, you look at that. Here's our friend now.
Oh no, the free Doomguard.
And I'm ahead in life by enough that I feel comfortable tapping still for sure. I'll go ahead and play this. Actually, what I'm going to do, since the Squire won't be able to attack this turn, I'm going to go ahead and clear the board out first, get this Doomguard damage in, and then I'm going to position it next to the Direwolf after I attack to maintain the buff on the bubbles, because that's really where you want it.
Okay. Pretty sure I'm dead. Let me think. Yeah. Let's see. I can't Hex Doomguard or else I'm dead. So Alakir is my only option. Obviously, I need to kill the Direwolf and the Young Priestess. Actually, I think I could live for one more turn. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty screwed, but
Alright, it's time to tap. It's not going
Soulfire
to help us
incoming.
win this turn, but still a great card. I have no option but to clear this out and do 2 to the face. Now he's in Soulfire range. It's looking pretty good.
And I didn't get enough. And that's a good game. GG.
Alright, so I think even though I had a little bit of a clunky opener, in the sense that I didn't hit like any 1-drops, my 2-drop got cleaned up, and then I kind of played like a half, like just one Battlecry, Defender of Argus, and the start was kind of slow. It ended up working out nicely for me because those 2 Dark Irons were pretty tough to deal with. It ended up eating through a pair of Wolves and then the Lightning Storm afterwards. So I was able to actually get the Lightning Storm thrown down without a ton of value, which is one of the most important cards in this matchup. How much value the Shaman is able to get off of the Lightning Storm will determine more often than not the tempo swing that sets the pace of the late game. So let me update the score here.
Yeah, I didn't really hit any minions in the middle of the game, and that's a huge problem against Zoo. As much as the removal helps, you don't have enough removal to remove because of the hero power of the Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
You need to 2-for-1.
Yeah, you need to get great value out of your cards more so than most other Shaman matchups. Alright, so my hand at the start is pretty bad once again. Let me turn on your mulligans. So you pretty much never want to keep Doom Guards in this deck, and especially not in this matchup. Shattered Sun can be okay if you have the coin and you have like a nice 1-drop that you want to power up, like maybe a Flame Imp, but since I don't have that, I'll get rid of this. Harvest Golem is not quite the same as the Amani that I kept last time because it's the extra mana. So you really just want to mulligan for 1-drops and start the tempo nice and early. So this hand ends up being okay. Not great.
I'm going to keep the Squire and the Juggler because they're guaranteed early game drops. It would be nice to have a Rockbiter or an Earthshock, which worked out nicely for me.
Alright, so this is my only 1-drop. Definitely going to play it just to protect my upcoming turns. I don't have anything to activate it until a little later on, but it'll protect my other cards, especially from Rockbiter and other creatures on the board.
Alright, since he has no power on the board, I would usually coin out the Juggler. A lot of times, coining out the Juggler just gets it killed, but it's a guaranteed kill, which is nice, and I don't have the awesome coin Unbound into Feral Spirit or Lightning Storm play, so there's no real reason to save the coin, in my opinion. Also, the knife hitting the Shield Bearer is an easy way to kill it next turn.
Now, this card is going to get played 100%. Question is, do I want to Soulfire this? I think the answer is yes, it's correct to Soulfire. If he has any kind of removal for that Knife Juggler on 1 mana, which could be a Lightning Bolt or a Rockbiter, and then he plays a creature to take out the Shield Bearer with a Juggle, or any combination of a lot of cheap cards and a small creature can clear the board. I just really don't want to leave the Knife Juggler up. I'm going to go ahead and Soulfire this. It puts me like pretty much out of cards. My sound is gone.
Oh, right. Yeah, you just cut out. I hear you again now.
Weird. Oh, it's back. Radiant Skies?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't feel too great about having a Soulfire that early, but it secures my board a little bit, and I really can't justify keeping it.
Okay, this is interesting. Definitely want to play the Ardent Squire. I don't want to just Totem. There's no reason to play this. Flame Tongue. Rockbiter does nothing for me. So I'm going to play the Squire, and it might seem like an odd play, but I'm going to Earthshock the Knife Juggler. He only has 1 card in hand. I don't want him to get any more value out of that, and it allows, if I can get through the Shield Bearer, I can trade my bubble with his Knife Juggler.
This is pretty rough. Have to tap here in no place. I have to go to the face, because I'm not going to make that trade for him. Yeah, he's gotten... him having to Earthshock the Knife Juggler was actually pretty good, because I was falling behind in cards just because I had to Soulfire that early and discard. So I'm happy to see that he didn't get great value out of that Earth Shock, but at the same time, I don't really have much of a play this turn, so the game kind of goes on in limbo.
Okay, I want to get through the Shield Bearer because it's just going to become a real problem. This is like a great opportunity to get rid of it now and not be punished at all. So I'm going to definitely Rock Biter out. Take it down, I keep the bubble, which is nice. Now I could clear this Knife Juggler with my second Rock Biter, but I feel like I could get more use out of it, especially since it only has 1 health. I mean, a Defender of Argus won't punish me that bad, and I could always deal with it then. So I'm just going to Totem here, see what I get. That's a good Totem. That's a really good Totem.
Oh man, yeah, this game is not going so well. Defender of Argus here is okay. It's not great. I mean, it gives my Knife Juggler an extra point of health, but that's not incredibly valuable because he's just going to trade the Totem and the Bubble for it.
Yeah, it's a great Totem.
I kind of like playing the Harvest Golem here instead. And as far as attacks go, I think trading here might actually be correct just because if he has Lightning Storm, he clears my board. And I don't have a great hand to follow it up. So I want at least something to stick. And it's only a matter of a couple points of damage to the face. So I'm actually going to make this trade. With the cards in hand, I really want at least the clone to stick on the board.
Okay, Don't know if there's a good way to clear this. You know, I'm just gonna go for this. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this play anyway. I'm gonna put out the Knife Juggler. I'm going to use Flame Tongue also to clear the Harvest Golem. Hopefully this knife hits his face, because I'm going to be clearing anyway, and it doesn't. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to clear this. It keeps my body on the board. He can kill the Knife Juggler, but I think the Flame Tongue is more valuable to me, so now he's going to have a difficult decision of what to take down. And if he doesn't take down the Knife Juggler, I could punish him, and if he doesn't take down the Flame Tongue, I could probably punish him also. So I feel pretty good about this position.
Alright. I'm really glad that I made that trade last turn, even though it seemed like a little bit of a questionable attack. Keeping this damaged golem was my objective, and I succeeded. So this turn, I've got a couple options here. I can either Direwolf up. Like, whichever card I don't play is going to get discarded. If I Defender first, then I can't use my mana effectively. But if I Soulfire, I discard my only card in hand. So I mean, all that really matters is that I get the extra point of attack onto here. So I think I'm going to hit the Defender, just because it's a little stronger to Lightning Storm, given that the Defender doesn't die for sure and may end up trading with the Squire. So then, make this attack, go Soulfire, and go on ahead with that. So Lightning Storm here is still okay, but if all he gets out of it is a 2-for-1 and the second card isn't even a guarantee, we're okay in terms of card advantage. I want to prevent him from doing better than 1-for-1 trades.
Okay.
What to do?
Okay, here I'm going to It really hurts to use this on the damage golem. I don't really have a choice.
What to do?
Yeah, I'm gonna rock by the damage golem. I'm going to play Blood Mage because I really need a card cycle at this point. There's not a huge board I'm looking to Lightning Storm or anything with the Blood Mage as a boost. And I don't want to trade here.
Alright. I'm definitely going to end up tapping here. So let's go ahead and do that first. These buffs are kind of questionable to use, both of them right now. What I may end up doing, just playing the Imani Berserker and then trading in a creature. Neither of these other buffs get great value. And he probably, I mean, I can't say for sure that Lightning Storm is not that card in hand, but he would have had a reasonable opportunity to the last turn, so I think he probably would have done that over using Rockbiter how he did. I'll go ahead and kill this, just so that he has to trade his Squire in if he rolls low on the potential Lightning Storm, and I'm not going to play any more creatures for the same reason. I want to avoid getting too big of a Lightning Storm hit against me.
Okay, I can't seem to hit a 6-drop. I really don't have much of a play here besides Totem. Yeah. I don't think any of my cards really get significant value right now. I think it's kind of rough having 2 1/1s out for the Imani, but I have answers if I need to.
Alright, so I'm in kind of a strange position here in the mid game. As the Zoo player, you're generally concerned with maintaining board control. One of the issues here, though, against the Shaman deck is that if you want to maintain board control, you gotta keep trading with the totems. And if you play enough creatures that you can stay ahead of the totems, if I was to play 2 or even 3 creatures this turn, I open myself up to just massive Lightning Storm value, which is definitely not what I want. So in order to stay ahead in the card advantage department, I'm going to go ahead and tap early here, see what I get. Now I do like playing Shattered Sun here,
We must cleanse
because
the
it
sun
lets
well.
me enrage my Berserker and keep it so he has to roll high on the Lightning Storm. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out the 2 units with attack, and I'm not going to overcommit by playing any more cards to the board. I'm just going to stay on 3 creatures. I'm starting to kind of pull ahead in terms of card advantage, and the Lightning Storm is okay, but not incredible.
I don't see a reason not to play Zerdrake here. It's one of the best mid-game cards. It's an okay draw, nothing too special. It might give me good value in future turns, but I can't play anything else, so obviously Totem and pass. That's a good totem to get and mitigate a little bit. And it also doesn't allow for him to keep the Berserker alive and trade the other 2. Or you have to sack the other 2, rather.
Okay. Now, I can definitely get through that early, that totem, and then still trade nicely with the Zerdrake, given the bonus attack I have in my hand. The question is, how many creatures do I want to commit at this point into a potential Lightning Storm? I think it would have been pretty reasonable value for him to play last turn. At the same time, the Drake trades nicely and gets decent card advantage built up based on what I have on the board. Plus, he drew a card off the Drake, and he'll draw another card next turn. So I pretty much have to put him on a Lightning Storm, if not now, very soon. And any board I build this turn can get swept away in the next turn or 2. So I don't want to overcommit too much. At the same time, I do need to trade something for this Drake. So I think in the end I'm going to play the Ardent Squire
The light
and
protects.
the Abusive Sergeant.
Push
Clear
forward.
this off. I'm going to trade this in. I'm going to value 6 to the face higher than this totem. And I'm also going to tap here to keep up with cards.
Okay. Especially in Zoo, if you get an opportunity to play Alakir as a way to clear the board, I prefer to do that. That's why I mean, he's not great in the Zoo matchup, especially since I drew him so early, but this is a time where he shines.
What to do?
I'm gonna play Alakir. I don't think any of my other plays are real guarantee. I could play Violet Teacher.
I wonder.
Let's see, I have 8 mana this turn. The Alakir I can clear, the Imani, and the Shattered Sun, and then still will have 2 health. I think I'm gonna go for the Storm now. I'm gonna play the Violet Teacher first. I'm not gonna roll for the Spell Power Totem because I'd rather have Body. And I have an Earth Shock to back myself up. So let's see what I get here.
Oh, that's huge. Takes out the 3 health.
That is huge. And there's not great Earth Shock targets, so I'm gonna clear that off and I get another token too on top of it. That's a huge swing for me right there.
Alright, so at long last, the Lightning Storm is hit. Doesn't have many cards in hand. At this point, soon you start thinking about another one, but I don't put him on a second one quite yet. But I definitely need to repopulate the board. The question becomes, do I want to tap here? I can play my entire hand right now if I don't tap, but I think I want to see the extra card. So that's definitely a good one to get. I think in the end I'm going to play all these small creatures. So I want the Voidwalker next to the Direwolf, for sure. And I'm going to give the other bonus attack to the Young Priestess,
Do you need a blessing?
and put the Flame Imp on the far side. And the reason for that is if I get Defender, I can put it between the Flame Imp and the Voidwalker, and keep the other two without taunt. Now, he's almost certainly going to trade in for the Direwolf no matter what I do this turn. The Violet Teacher will probably kill the Voidwalker, but that can't really be avoided.
Okay. This is a good draw. It's pretty dangerous, but I'm gonna be happy with it. It means I can't play Alakir next turn, but it also means that I can clear his whole board.
Is this another Lightning Storm?
No. It's kind of dangerous because I'm gonna get hit with some face tanking, but I'm gonna have to put a Doomhammer here. Unless I just did some bad mental math, I'm pretty sure I can clear the whole board. So I'm gonna Totem first. I already have the Healing Totem, which is huge here. Obviously, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit here.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
And clear it out. I can't play Alakir. Actually, I can play Alakir because next turn will be turn 10, so the 2 overload won't affect me. So I think I'm in a really commanding position, even with 13 health.
Okay, so now that I've seen Doomhammer, I mean, I know he has Alakir in his hand because he's talking about it, but just with the amount of life I have, I'm very concerned against a Shaman. Doomhammer's already on the board, so he's got 7 damage for next turn, 3 from the Violet Teacher, 4 from his face. Leaves me with 8 health. I'm thinking Alakir is 6, Rockbiter is also 6. I believe we've only seen 1 Rockbiter so far this game. So I mean, I don't want to deal too much damage to myself and risk dying. Most of the cards that I put him on first out of hand are for 6. So 7 plus 6 is 13. If I tap, I'm dead. If I Flame Imp, I'm dead. At this point, though, if all I do is play Dark Iron, I would need to hit Doomguard into tap into Soulfire or something ridiculous like that. So I think the only thing to do at this point is tap and see what I get. Alright, so I got a taunt. That might help me. The question becomes, do I want to play this or not? I think it's too dangerous to take this. No, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. If I don't play it, I don't see myself winning without getting that creature on the board. Because if I don't kill him next turn, the Doomhammer's certainly gonna finish me off the following turn.
Okay, so let's see here. I want to play this safe, but I also want to set up for lethal because I'm kind of low and I'm contemplating taking another 3 damage to the face. That leaves me the only possible way to lose would be to Leroy Soulfire or Leroy Power Overwhelming top decks 2 in a row. If I can avoid that, let me see. Staying at 11 health is big against Warlock, but you kind of... People don't seem to run Leroy wisely in this type of deck. It doesn't make sense to run Leroy in a board control deck. Let's see. I think I'm actually...
What to do?
Were you trolling me with Alakir?
No, I have him, but I have
Oh,
another
got
play
lethal
too.
then, don't you?
There is little time.
No, I don't. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Well, I guess I have this play is pretty decent.
So in this case, knowing my opponent's cards actually cost me the game because I have one of them to
Oh my god. Well, to be honest, when you were going on your whole spiel about the Flame Imp, I just assumed that I didn't have
play.
lethal. No, I assumed that I didn't have lethal after you knew that I had Alakir.
No, yeah, I played the Flame Imp anyways because,
Okay.
I mean, I reasoned that was the correct play. Like, I wasn't going to win. If you didn't have the burst,
Yeah, no, you have to play that.
I wouldn't win. Anyways.
You have to do that. I didn't have any taunts up either, so there's a chance. On the board, I couldn't clear that. It had to come from my hand.
Alright, so Shaman ties it up 1-1. We're going to go into the ace match here.
Chat lethal.
Chat leader. Oh man, that's the ultimate BM. I just like BM'd myself into the loss.
Yeah.
For doom.
I also had a
Took a long
hex.
turn.
I had a hex in my hand and Violet Teacher, so I was just gonna like completely clear your board and control the board. But I probably should have looked at Alakir. That would be wise. Oh, this is bad.
So
you go
I
first.
finally have a good hand, which is nice. Neither of the first 2 games did I have a good hand. In the game 2 there that we just played, though, you were able to get great card value out of most of your stuff, especially the Lightning Storm was much better that game. And, yeah, I mean, in the end I just kind of fell behind into the late game, and I couldn't build a board that would stick. This is a really good hand. I'm going to get rid of the Shattered Sun, just because it's too high on the curve. Temptation to keep Abusive Sergeant, but since I have the coin and I've also got some 2-drops, I don't really need it. So I'm going to go for some like Flame Imp, Knife Juggler kind of creatures. That looks pretty good in the end.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say besides I have a really crappy hand. 2 4-drops and a 5-drop is just automatic toss against a Warlock. Even if you know that they're handlocked, there's absolutely no reason. You want to get a good start against handlocks too.
Alright,
Okay. So my hand didn't really get much better. I don't have to play unless I'm feeling like a Dennis.
Alright, I'm definitely going to coin out a 2-drop here. I've got quite a few of them. The question becomes, which card do I want to play? Now, against the Shaman deck in particular, pretty much any removal that's going to do 2 is also going to do 3. At this early stage of the game, I mean, the only way that a 3-drop is more durable on turn 2 is if he goes like double Earth Shock, because Lightning Bolt and Rockbiter are both gonna remove either one. So I think in the end, I'm gonna go for the Knife Juggler play, just because I can get value out of its ability next turn by playing another creature. If he totems and gets the 1/1 or something, or if he plays an Argent Squire that he drew off the top, something like that.
Okay, I hate this play, but I have to do it. I'm gonna use the lightning bolt. I have no other way of clearing. I could just totem, but of all of them, if he played a solo flame imp, I would consider not doing this. But the knife juggler is just gonna become way too much of a pain to deal with. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do this. It's like that and alpha dog are like the premier drops you need to get rid of.
Alright, so we'll follow this up. In the end, since he did have the removal, the question becomes, was it better to get the Knife Juggler or to keep the Imani? I think he would have removed it either way. Keeping the Knife Juggler around is pretty nice. I made the more aggressive play, and he capitalized on it by having the removal.
Okay, I only have 2 mana because of the overload, which I knew, and I didn't really want to play any of my 3 drops anyway. So I have to totem, just pray it's not a 1/1. Okay, that's a good totem. It's not the... I mean, this is going to get removed anyway, most likely, but it's nice.
Alright, so in the interest of playing around Lightning Storm, I'm only going to play the 1 durable creature rather than the 2 less sturdy creatures. Builds up my board reasonably well without over-committing into that early Lightning Storm.
Okay, I have a 4-drop to play, and I don't really need to remove this yet, and removing it would give me no other option to play anything, so Violet Teacher can't be killed easily from what I can see from what he has on board.
Okay. So I'm thinking that's a really good draw. Now my board will potentially be a little bit weak. Lightning Storm. You know, I'm almost considering keeping the Harvest Golem rather than the Berserker. I think in the end though, Berserker's pretty good Lightning Storm protection anyways, because if he does roll low with no spell power, then it enrages it for me. And the Dark Iron's protect as well. So I'm gonna end up full farming this and trading into the first copy of
Okay. Just use the Soulfire, which makes me feel a little bit more comfortable about playing the Azure Drake. It's a threat he has to take care of, and I think that's... I just really value getting the card, also. Especially since he only has 2 in hand. I'm feeling pretty... He doesn't have any huge threats yet, and I don't have a Hex, which you really want to get a Hex, because a Doom Guard can just win the game flat out if you don't have one. Okay, that's a good draw.
Alright, I'm not too happy about seeing that, because it's tough to deal with and maintain healthy creatures. At this point, my main concern is not exposing myself to a massive lightning storm. So
I wonder.
I want to keep the Dark Iron Dwarf full health if I can, and I value keeping the Berserker around as kind of insurance. The question becomes, do I want to use the Battle Cry on the Shattered Sun, or do I want to use the Direwolf for the extra point of damage? In the interest of spending all my mana, I think I'll probably go with the Shattered Sun. I'm wasting a permanent buff
We must
rather
cleanse
than
the Sunwell.
temporary one, though. So it's a little bit questionable in that sense. But I'm hoping to get a Doomguard soon.
Almost out of time.
This is tough. I think I am gonna go in the end with the double. And then I'll trade this in. This is a little bit weaker to Storm, but I value the Shattered Sun, because if any of the creatures survive Lightning Storm, then I can make them a little more durable afterwards.
Okay. So, I'm getting a little low for what he has on board. Let's see. I can very efficiently clear the Dark Iron Dwarf with a Zerdrake plus a Lightning Bolt. I'm kind of afraid of him going face for 9. Don't really like. You know, I'm going to take a risk here because I have really good backup plans. Man, but then if he has a Doom Guard, I'm at 4 health, I think.
There is little
This is tough. This is tough. This is tough.
I wonder.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. See what I draw really quickly. Okay.
Alright, so I've only got 4 mana worth of cards in my hand. Means I'm gonna tap for sure. Very interesting. Alright, that was pretty much the perfect top deck.
Oh no.
So what I'm gonna do is
We
power this
must
guy up
cleanse the
first,
Sunwell.
which further protects me from lightning
Who you
storm.
want me kill?
Then I'm going to go to the face of everything, and then play my Doomguard in the middle after attacking, once again so that I get the damage during the attack phase.
No.
And then power up the creature. I've got the Soul Fire. Now there's something to be said for leaving me at 5 health, which is Doomguard range, but I definitely don't want the spell power around. If that was another creature, then there's perhaps a chance I would leave it up and go to the face at this point, and just pure all in, but the spell power is too dangerous to keep around.
Okay, well, it took long enough to do it. I think I have the Lightning Storm now. Like, I mean, yeah, I have to. But the question is, what else do I do? It's not a guarantee. It's a guarantee that the wolves die, so I'm going to... I don't have a definite way to kill the Berserker, though, so I'm going to have to do Wolves, Lightning Storm. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully the Doomguard could die, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference. I mean, not the Doomguard, Void Walker. Okay, that's good. That's the best thing that could happen.
Alright, it's time to tap. It's not bad. It's not amazing.
You
I know
shall
I have to
want
make
me
this attack,
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
and now I'm basically top decking for damage. This is pretty much where the Shaman wants to be in the late game, and he's at a very low amount of health to have reached this point, though. So he's
Yeah.
not in a great spot in terms of I could easily top deck and finish him off. Same time, he's still got quite a few cards in hand, so I'm in a pretty rough spot, actually.
Okay, I have 2 plays. Well, one's a gamble. I don't think it's a worthy gamble. This double overload's pretty rough. I could play Knife Juggler into Flame Tongue and pray that the 1/3 chance it hits the shield bearer. It's not the absolute end of the world if it doesn't, but I would like to get that dead now, especially because it can only do 1 damage to my wolf, and no matter what he top decks at this point, I don't think he would need the perfect top decks to kill me. So I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna double Flame Tongue here. Get a guaranteed kill on that, and even if he kills the wolf, then the Flame Tongues power up each other.
Okay.
Please no Doom Guard.
Well, like a true zoo player,
No!
I've top decked the Doom Guard, and I'm gonna go ahead and tap because I still have a ton of life.
Top deck Soulfire lethal.
Nope. No, I'm not that lucky. Now that said, I think I'm healthy enough that going to the face is pretty appealing. There's something to be said for killing one of those. Well, this is actually a really tough decision.
It is tough. I could potentially have lethal.
9 mana, no overload. Alakir Rockbiter is 6, 10. No, I don't see a lethal.
Maybe not.
You can deal maximum 20.
Oh yeah, I could do 20 max.
So I'm actually gonna go ahead and go face here.
Job done.
I doubt he surely can't kill me. And
Okay, well, this is pretty nice.
uh-oh.
I think it's my I think it's my only play. It's probably the best thing I could have ever drawn. I drew Alakir. I can kill the Doomguard for free with the bubble and keep him in the middle. I could also... No, I don't really think there's a point of doing that. Yeah, there's no... I was thinking there might be a point of killing the Alakir and a Flame Tongue, but it makes no difference. Okay, so my Alakir... Oh, well. Let me do this first. That would have been a mistake. Actually, I would have had lethal if I had Rockbiter because of this first.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that 4
I didn't think of that, so I can't claim that I was being smart. Okay, so I got the 7/5 Alakir. That's pretty big. I think I just won unless you top deck a Soulfire.
Alright, I got a tap.
Please no. Slow roll.
Should have traded. Well, GG.
GG. I also have the Doomhammer for the overkill.
Oh man.
Oh, look at what the next card was. That's disgusting.
You know, in the end, trading actually, the reason I didn't trade is that you would have still been able to trade just the bubble. The 2 damage I would have taken by clearing out one of the Flame Tongues, I still would have lost to the Alakir. You would
Yeah,
have taken
that's
less
very
damage
true.
in the end, but you would have still been at 9. So I think the chance of drawing,
No, yeah, I don't think it was an error.
yeah, it was just unfortunate that you got
I
the
mean,
Alakir.
I would have just, yeah. I had Alakir and Taunt Totem were my only ways of surviving at that point. Or Argus, but like that's just a delay. That's a crazy top deck. That's the most damage I've ever had Alakir have, and I've played a lot of Shaman.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Alright, so, in the Shaman takes this one 2-1. How do you feel that is in terms of the overall win rate in this matchup?
I know I see a lot on Reddit and whatnot, people saying that they have problems as Zoo against Shaman, but playing a lot of Shaman on Legend Ladder and playing Shaman to Legend in prior seasons, I never really... It's a matchup that can go very wrong, but I still think there's a majority win rate going to the Shaman. It's kind of hard. I track my stats a lot, but like you have a big win rate against Handlock, so it's kind of hard to differentiate. I haven't like really took the time to
Oh yeah, fair enough.
denote Zoo versus but I always feel like just getting through a little bit, like moseying on through to the mid game. If you get a fire elemental, the fire elemental's often a 3-for-1 against Zoo,
Hmm.
and I don't know. I think people they jump to use Lightning Storm and they jump to use Spirit Wolves early, and you just can't do that. Like you can have turns where you only have 2 mana against Zoo. I
Yeah.
think if you can make it to turn 5, 6, and then start using your big overload cards, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes people make. And I actually always had a problem with it, and I started to do that. I feel like I read it somewhere, or I was watching like Savages play his Shaman deck on ladder, and I started to pick up that is just like you can't do that to yourself.
Yeah, that sounds about right. One of the reasons that this is sometimes difficult for the Warlock player, I mean, it comes down a lot of the times to what kind of opener you have and what kind of removal the Shaman has. Um, the Zoo likes to flood the board early and always keep control of the board. The problem against Shaman is that they have probably the best AoE removal against Zoo
Yeah,
of any class
it's a
in
beast.
the Lightning Storm. And so you can't just safely flood the board and then clear it with creatures, because if you overextend, you're going to lose like single-handedly just to the Lightning Storm.
Hmm.
Um, so you kind of have to play a little bit more conservatively, and then if the Shaman gets uh, reasonable trades off of the other non-Lightning Storm removal that they have, like the Rockbiters, Lightning Bolts and stuff, then they can actually keep on top of your board without having to make bad trades. So I think in the games you
Yeah,
won, you were able
absolutely.
to basically get great value out of your cards over the course of the
Exactly.
game
The
without overloading yourself.
Yeah, the like I was saying about how you really don't want to use Lightning Storm and Feral Spirits. Like the one game I lost, I had to use them both, and it was like it really didn't clear that much. You had 4 cards in your hand, but like I had to do it. If I didn't do it, I was screwed either way. And but that's also hard to do with Zoo because you're just kind of getting what you get off the top of the deck and playing it, so you don't really have too much control over when they can Lightning Storm or not. Just want to apply
Hmm.
as much pressure as you can without being. And also trading is big. Like you were doing a good job of trading your minions. Always think about the AOE.
Hmm.
Like
Trying to
you
keep your
always,
biggest
yeah.
minions healthy, and
Like, and that's against any class too. Playing
yeah,
against Druid, you don't want to keep everything at 1 health and then something not at 1 health. Like you're just asking to
yeah,
get wrecked in the situation.
it's
You just need
a
to know
lot
what you're
harder
playing
against the
against.
Shaman. The
Oh
swipe
yeah,
is like, it's easy to keep minions above 1, but
yeah.
keeping them above 2 to 3 is like, especially in a deck with
I
often
know.
small stuff, it's tough.
You definitely want to keep them at 3. If you can keep them at 4, I mean, not that many Zoo minions at 4 anyway, but
Yeah.
like I know when I play my Murloc aggro deck, I always 3 is the magic number to stay at.
Alright, so takeaways from this one, I mean, I'd put the win rate in the end somewhere between 55 and 60% in the Shaman's favor, which
Agreed.
is pretty accurate of the 2-1 result that we got in our 3-game set here. Um, I think the key cards really is the Lightning Storm, along with the other removal. I mean, the threat of the Lightning Storm makes the other removal more effective than it would be,
Hmm.
because you can't overextend, and if you don't play a lot of creatures, then they'll get easily removed with the 1-for-1 smaller stuff. So it's definitely a tough matchup. This is one of the matchups where Zoo player has to play a very mindful game, whereas a lot of the other matchups you can kind of safely just curve out as efficiently as you can, uh, get great value out of
Okay.
all your creatures, and just not have to play with the other person too much. Whereas this matchup is very got to think a lot and play
Hmm.
around the lightning storms. Definitely keeping track of all of their removal spells, namely lightning bolts, earth shocks, lightning storms, rock biters. Very important. Um, yeah, and you've got to kind of tread this balance between not overextending and actually winning the game at some point. Because if you don't play enough creatures and you get to the late game, the shaman ultimately has better late game stuff in the fire alleys and the Alakir. than your two guards. I think the Shaman will win out the longer the game goes. So it's definitely a really fine balance that goes into this matchup. And I think it was a fun one to play. I mean, intense series.
It's a close matchup. It's very intense.
Yeah,
There's a lot of RNG with the Shaman too.
that's true. Yeah, RNG on both sides in terms of, if you
The
get down to top
totem,
decking with the Zoo deck, and then the totem RNG, the kind of random lightning
lightning
storm
storm
dragons.
RNG. Yeah,
There was that one turn where you killed the Doomguard, or the Voidwalker was pretty clutch as well.
yeah, it was big. It was very big. Quickly
Yeah,
on the Shaman, the cards I look for when I'm keeping is Rockbiter, Argent Squire, Knife Juggler. If you don't play Knife Juggler, I don't really like keeping 3 drops. Like I said, I'll keep Unbound Elemental. I'll keep a decent amount of the time. If I have Feral Spirit and Unbound, like sometimes I'll keep it. But like I said, I don't like Unbound. I'll keep one Lightning Storm. But well, most of the time, you kind of want to draw the Lightning Storm. To be honest, like it's really nice to have. But like in a perfect world, you want other things before you play it. But I mean, I would not throw it away in a mulligan against the Warlock. And save hexes for Doom Guards unless it's a very dire situation. Like I could have possibly hexed one of your Dark Irons in one of those games, but I had the Lightning Storm. If not, I would have used a hex on it because I was in a really bad spot.
yeah, you don't want to fall too far behind and then end up hexing later and then end up paying an extra
Exactly, and
several
sometimes
points
the
of
Doom
health.
Guards
But
just never come, so it would just be sitting in your hand. But Hex is not a good card. I wouldn't keep it ever in the
yeah,
mulligan phase. You just don't want to be unlucky and not drawing it by
and
turn 5 from 7.
that's a big issue with Shaman, and why a lot of people have consistency problems with the deck is that against Zoo, Lightning Storm is one of the best cards in the sense of AoE removal is king here, and Lightning Storm is the best one. Um, in the handlock matchup, Hex is really your key card there, and the
Yeah.
Lightning Storm is generally not that effective. So
Yeah, but you just
kind of
can't keep it.
an
Oh,
RNG.
I forgot to mention Earthshock. You have to keep.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it's not amazing against Zulok. It's good, but it's just the fact that it's decent against Zulok and like amazing against Handlock. You absolutely have to keep it.
Yeah,
Like
that's an
if Handlock
important
didn't exist, I
consideration.
would maybe not always keep it in my hand, but I always keep it in my hand.
Something that might play out different in a tournament if you know that they're Zoo and they have to stay on the same deck. You
Right.
might not
Yeah,
keep it, but
especially
especially on ladder,
since
you don't know.
a lot aren't playing the 3-1 anymore.
Yeah,
That was a huge target that got removed from a lot of decks because of the rise of Shaman after Unleash the Hound's nerf.
yeah, for sure. And then from my end, in terms of mulligans, it's fairly standard against the Shaman. Um, your Argent Squires are a little less valuable here than normal, but I don't know if that makes it worth getting rid of them. You pretty much just want to go for 1-drops. You're okay to keep 2-drops if you already have some 1-drops, or on the flip side, if you have no 1-drops, you probably want to keep a single 2-drop, just in case you don't want to get a worse hand.
Yeah.
But anything 3 and higher, like Harvest Golem, Shattered Suns, you definitely want to get rid of, and then the 4 and 5 drops, 100%, you're going to get rid of like every time. So it's fairly standard in that sense. Shield Bearer on its own doesn't have great value early on, unless you have Knife Juggler or a high priority target. It can help to defend against the Rock Biters, but Shaman has enough spell removal that it's not great, so I don't value Shield Bearer here quite as much as in some other matchups. And then, generally speaking, you don't want to keep Soulfires anytime because you're going to end up discarding too early, which can really hurt you. And Shaman doesn't have any like critical turn 1, turn 2, even turn 3 creatures that are really, really great unless they play Unbound. That's kind of one of the only soulfire cards.
That's the only real target.
But I wouldn't keep it in your opening hand just for that. Yeah, I mean, in the end, the Zoo Mulligan phase is pretty standard, almost no matter what you're playing. Some of the 1-drops are more or less valuable in the matchup. Shield Bear here, I'd put a little bit below normal. Argent Squire as well. But everything else is pretty straightforward in that regard. Yeah, I mean, it's a fun matchup. We did the Miracle Rogue and Murloc last time, which was fairly similar in terms of the win rate overall, with just a 5 to 10% edge, one over the other. In this matchup, though, I think even though the win rate's the same, the games always feel a great
They always feel
closer.
close.
Yeah. Whereas the other one, it like whoever won usually did so by a large margin. These games, like, they almost always came down to a close, pivotal board turn
They go
in
late
late
into the
game
game
and some
too.
top
Yeah,
decks. Yeah.
I've gone through my entire deck playing my Murloc Zoo deck against a Shaman, and that's never happened before. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
About to go to
Yeah.
fatigue.
Totems are one of the best stall mechanics in the game, man. A free 0-2 pretty much every turn is
They have to deal with
a life
it.
total. People
Yeah,
say shamans don't have heals, but totems are a shield.
that's a great point. Never thought of that. It's very true.
All
I
right.
think it was a good matchup. It went
Yeah,
well,
for
except
sure.
for that guy Miss Lethal. What's his name? Who did that?
Oh man. I think
Alakir. It's too much math with the Wind Fury. Just let it
yeah,
slide.
Wind Fury too hard. All right, man. Good stuff tonight. Definitely a good series. We will keep at it, and I think I'm going to be doing another 1 or 2 episodes tomorrow.
Cool.
So for you guys
Keep the
watching,
suggestions rolling.
yeah, suggest some stuff in the YouTube comments. Check out our forums at gammongaming.com. There's a couple threads on there. In these articles, you can post some feedback on any format changes that you would suggest for the series. Anything you'd like to see done differently, whether it's something to do with the scenes. Casting them in the daytime, I think, is probably a good idea. I've got the floating
The
black head
darkness.
going on again, almost certainly. It's a little lighter than it was yesterday. Yeah, I worked in the mulligans, which was something feedback between yesterday and today. I think that
Yeah,
went
that's a
pretty
great
well.
idea.
Yeah, and I'll post the links to the deck list in the comments. We played very standard decks today, but I think that's definitely valuable.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
any
probably gonna
matchups you
write a
want to see?
guide on my Shaman deck soon too. Put out a word out there.
Sick. Okay. Yeah. Send me a screen cap of that for today. I'll link it in the video
Definitely.
description. But then, yeah, check out for that shaman article on the site down the road, guys. Be up soon. All right. That'll do it for tonight. Keep that feedback rolling, and I'll see you guys next time for the next episode.